So I'm here near the White House. This is the anti-racist rally across from where the KKK fascists that are waving the Confederate flag are.
Yep.
And we've got someone in a Union soldier uniform. What's your name, by the way?
My name's Jack Artman. Nice to meet you.
Okay, so tell us about your outfit.
Well, this is a coat from Union General. It's got lining. It's really hot out here. Fortunately, I couldn't get an appropriate hat, but I had to do it in a pinch. I'm out here because people need to be reminded the Confederates lost. White supremacy should not stand.
Yeah.
So I'm out here to remind people of that.
Absolutely. Karl Marx, he called the American Civil War the Second American Revolution. Have you ever heard of that?
That I have not heard, no.
Yeah, and he talked about how, basically we had a revolution against the king, but the fact that the slave plantation system was still in effect and it was selling cheap cotton to the British Empire, and ultimately the Civil War was the Second American Revolution. And that white workers couldn't be free as long as they were competing with people who were working for free, slave labor, No, I really think the Civil War is so forgotten, and I mean, there's
revised.
Oh, I mean, there's all these movies like Gone with the Wind that just kind of rewrite it. I mean, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, I've seen Gone with the Wind. It's a very technically impressive movie, but it does promote the lost cause of the South, which is completely fictitious. This war was fought over two reasons. The states' rights, specifically the states' rights to own slaves.
Yeah, and
that is why it was fought. You cannot just gloss over that.
And not just to own slaves, but demanding that other states comply with it, with the Fugitive Slave Act and all of that. It wasn't even just their right to own slaves. It was their demanding the federal government accommodate their slavery, and that the new
took
states
it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Yeah, and the demanding that other states that joined the USA become slave states. And but it was beautiful. During the Civil War, Harriet Tubman actually she became the first one of the lead soldiers into battle, in South Carolina. I mean, we Americans should be really proud of the Civil War. And it's the opposite.
Yet we aren't.
Yeah, the opposite. Hollywood gives you the impression that all the white people were Scarlett O'Hara and they were living this beautiful life, and then those northern liberals ruined everything. It's like straight up historical revisionism,
Yep.
It started with Woodrow Wilson and the Democratic Party when they were trying to play the race card against Republicans. You freed the black people, you know what I mean? But now it's...
Woodrow Wilson was an open KKK supporter. He said forget the name of the movie. It was one of the first. Well, it was one glorifying the Klan. He said it was.
Birth of the Nation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Said that was one of the greatest movies ever made.
Disgusting.
No.
Yeah. And Karl Marx and the socialists of the world, they were big supporters of the Republicans back then, because the Republican Party was a revolutionary party. They took their name from 1848 when you had the Spring of Nations in Europe, and they took their name from that because it was a Republican uprisings, the Republic against the monarchy, right? Freedom, individual rights, that's what they took their name from. They used to be the radical left party, now they're the right-wing conservative party.
Which is ironic because at the time, a big tenet of republicanism was growing a lot of corporations, growing the railroads, growing like U.S. Steel, things like that.
Yeah, and that farmers were also really against slavery, right? They were for free land, free labor, free men,
Depending on which farmers you're talking about. Down in the South, a lot of them looked down on black people because it made them feel better about themselves.
Well, that's always the trap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this racism, when I see people waving the Confederate flag, they don't seem to realize that the Confederacy was bad for white workers. It was bad for everybody, and getting rid of it was one of the best moments in our history. W.E.B. Du Bois has that beautiful book, Black Reconstruction, where he talks about what was going on during Reconstruction, redistribution of land and all of that. I'm glad you wore this outfit, sir. You are making a statement. You are standing up for American history against Hollywood and the whitewash of the Confederacy.
Indeed.
My salute to you. Thank you very much. I'm going to post this on social media.
Thank you.
Your name again?
Jack Artman.
Jack Artman. I'm Caleb Bompin. I'm a reporter, journalist. So glad I got the opportunity to speak to you.
Nice to meet you too. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.